Hello, this is Jenny. So today's session is computer systems for grade 4. Okay, so let's see one by one. So in this computer session, you can see this black diagram of this systems. Okay, so how it works and how it organizes with other components. Okay, so first one is you can see here input. Okay, so input unit, control unit, output unit. Okay, and then last one is memory unit. Okay, so four units are very important in our computer systems. For input unit you can use keyboard, mouse, scanner, joystick, something. Input means you are going to give the data to the system. Okay, so another one is you can see this control unit. Control unit means this part is going to control everything on the system. So CPU, here three categories are available. One is arithmetic logic unit, registers. Another one is control unit. Okay, so these all are processing under control of this storage unit, that is memory unit. In this memory unit you can store two types of methodology. Okay, so one is permanently you can store the data, otherwise temporary you can store the data. So for permanent use you can use secondary devices. For temporary usage to store some information, you can use this RAM, random access memory. Okay, that is short term memory. And third unit is output unit. Okay, so if you are inserting your data, that data manipulates into the control unit and it produces the output to the output unit. Okay, so you can see through monitor, printer, speakers or headphone. Okay, so if it is audio files you can hear the output through the speakers as well as headphone. Okay, and then output means we are going to get the information. So these are the process of this computer system. Okay, and here you can see this picture. So for system unit, CPU. Okay, and output devices you can use monitor and as well as printer. Okay, and secondary devices for permanent storage you can utilize or uses for storage purpose, disk, that means a CD, DVD, pen drive. Okay, something like that. And then another one is input devices, you can insert the data through this device. Okay, so keyboard and mouse, these are the input devices. And next one is you can see this computer system. For your input, here the end users is giving some input. Okay, so that input is going through the validate through this applications. For example, if you are using Word, Gmail, Excel or something, you are watching movies on the Netflix, you can use this applications, and these applications tie up with this operating systems. Okay, so various types of operating systems you can use on your systems. For example, Windows you can use, Linux you can use, or Mac OS you can use. If you are using Android, that means mobile phone means you can use this Android OS. Okay, so and you can get that output through this monitor, speakers, headphone as well as printers. Okay, so this is the process of this computer system, overall computer system. Okay, so how it works, it works like this. Next one is computer components. Okay, so here you should know about that hardware and software. We can split into two parts. Hardware means mechanical parts, that means wired. Okay, physical components of the computer. And software means not wired. Okay, so wireless, you are going to install the software and then you are going to work on that platform. Okay, so that software, it can consist of two parts. One is system software, another one is application software. So system software, we can utilize operating system as well as device drivers. Okay, and then application software, all the applications right now you are using in the mobile phones or laptop or some other desktops. Okay, that these are called application software. Okay, and next here you can see, if you are giving your input, for example program, okay, that is your high level language, you are writing the code on that C or C# language. For example, I say here you have written that language in that program. Okay, so that is called high level language. This program is going to convert into the machine language. Okay, because the system, it's not a human being. Okay, it acts as a human being, not a human being. So virtual part, so system means machine. So the machine understands only that low level language. Low level language means zeros and ones. So what are the inputs you are giving, you are typing in your language, that language is going to convert into that machine language, and then that machine language is produces to the output through your output devices. For example, here you can see that monitor. Okay, so these are the process of this computer components compilation, okay, or program running process. Another one here you can see that memory unit. Okay, so how the memory, computer memory, it works. Okay, so for example, if you are using processor, okay, so without processor no one can do the process on the system. Okay, so processor is the main part, that is brain of the computer. In this CPU you can see that arithmetic logic unit for calculations, mathematical calculations, and then control unit. Okay, memory unit, and again you can see this cache memory. Another one is register. Okay, so if you are storing your informations in this processor, the processor sends this information to the cache. Cache is a permanent memory. Okay, so two types of cache memory are available. One is level 2, another one is level 3, and third one is, it will come to the RAM memory. RAM memory is the short term memory. Okay, short term memory means if you are working on the system, so suddenly your system power off due to this power cut, means what you will do. So you are typing some other information, some other documents in your system. Okay, so suddenly your system power off, what you will do? Nothing. Okay, so again we have to open our system. When the power it comes, you should open your system, and then you can type same thing on the same website or same document. Okay, so what is the use? It will take time, and you can do that process again and again. Okay, so that is a waste of time. For this purpose you are using secondary memory for permanent storage. Okay, so RAM is the short term memory, and then no use for that storage. Okay, so you can use hard disk, that is pen drive, for the permanent storage. Okay, so whenever you need, you can insert that disk or pen drive, you can edit, or you can do that process again and again. Okay, that's the purpose we are using this secondary device. Okay, we don't use primary device. Okay, so primary storage is the RAM, secondary storage device is the permanent one. Okay, so if you are using this primary storage, you can get the slow process. Okay, if you are using secondary device, you can get that fast process. So these are the memory hierarchy of this computer system. So here you can see the characteristics of the computer system, why we are using this system in a digital world: for automatic function, speed, accuracy, versatile, reliable, diligent, memory, programmable, everything. Okay, so diligent means you can get that process accurately. Okay, so for this purposes we are using this computer system in a digital world. Okay, so I think you would be understand everything clearly. So thank you so much. Bye from Jenny.